Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The UN's World Meteorological Organization says most of the thousands of deaths in the Libya floods could have been avoided. More than 5,000 people are now known to have died and at least 10,000 more are missing after 2 dams burst, releasing a tsunami of water as people slept. Warnings should have been issued, leading to evacuations, according to the organisation. The mayor of the eastern city of Derna estimates between 18,000 and 20,000 people there have died. This all that remains of one of the 2 dams which failed. Satellite images shows the scale of destruction in the Libyan port after floodwaters swept away bridges, streets and communities. Here, mangled cars being lifted out of the water in Derna by diggers. Ukraine says it has destroyed a sophisticated Russian air defense system in occupied Crimea. Images of the smoke were shared on Ukrainian channels on Telegram. Kyiv's security service and navy carried out the attack on a Russian facility near Yevpatoria using cruise missiles and drones. Moscow has yet to directly comment on the claim. Instead, the Russian Defense Ministry said it had shot down several Ukrainian aerial drones and thwarted a separate attack on a naval patrol vessel. Vladimir Putin has gratefully accepted Kim Jong-un's invitation to visit North Korea. The Kremlin confirmed the trip earlier after the 2 men held a rare summit in Russia's Far East. Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin have discussed possibilities for military cooperation in a highly scrutinized meeting for a suspected arms deal. Mr. Putin also said he would help Pyongyang develop satellites. The US says Moscow is buying weapons for its war in Ukraine and warned any help would violate UN resolutions.
It has become increasingly clear from DPRK statements by Kim Jong-un that the DPRK is not prepared to enter into dialogue with the United States, that it has no intention of ending its nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
A murderer who escaped from a US jail 2 weeks ago has been captured by a law enforcement dog after a heat-sensing aircraft located him. Crowds cheered as Danilo Cavalcante was loaded into an armoured vehicle to be taken back to prison. He escaped from prison 2 weeks ago by crab walking above the prison walls. He had just been sentenced to life last month for killing his ex-girlfriend in 2021. After a huge manhunt, he was finally caught as he tried to crawl away from officers who had surrounded him.
Thanks to the extraordinary work of law enforcement officials from here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, our local leaders here in Chester County, and from our federal partners all across this nation, shortly after 8 a.m., our suspect was captured. I want to say, first and foremost, thank God there were no injuries to law enforcement or to the public. We obviously became deeply concerned after the suspect was able to steal a weapon.
A huge fire has gutted hundreds of shops at a market in Bangladesh's capital, Dhaka, in the early hours of Thursday. It took 6 hours for military forces and firefighters to contain the blaze. No casualties were reported as the blaze swept through the area before shops opened. The fire service attributed the likely cause of the blaze to an electric short circuit. Fires are common in densely populated Dhaka, which has seen a building boom in recent years, often without proper safety measures. And the actress Drew Barrymore has been dropped as the host for the upcoming National Book Awards amid criticism of the actress resuming production of her show during the current Hollywood strikes. Barrymore said earlier this week her show, called The Drew Barrymore Show, would return to screens in compliance with strike rules of not promoting films or television shows. The National Book Foundation says it has therefore rescinded Miss Barrymore's invitation to host the 74th edition of the event. The foundation did not immediately name a replacement host. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.